Ladies and gentlemen, this interview is brought to you by Burn Up Coaching and the 21-Day Challenge. If you're an entrepreneur or high achiever and you want to take your results to the next level, or you've been feeling stuck or stopped or plateaued, the 21-Day Challenge could be the reignition fuel and activity that gets you back into action, succeeding like never before. Over the course of 21 days, you'll get clear on your long-term goals, get clear on your 21-day goal, and then break that down into bite-sized steps so you're taking action every day. You have daily accountability and check-ins, weekly deep dive calls to make sure that you are uncovering the limiting beliefs and blind spots that are stopping you from success. And in 21 days, we're going to do everything we possibly can together as a team to have you hit that goal. So if that sounds interesting to you and you're committed, not just interesting, but committed as well, send me a message, chris@beyourgps.com, or through Facebook, and let me know you're interested in the 21-Day Challenge, and we'll see if it's a good fit for you. I'll send you an intake form, and again, it's not for everyone. It's super intense, 21 days of like high intensity. You're kicking butt, taking names, letting go of, hanging out with friends on the weekend, and just like laser focus. You want to take it to the next level. Not saying you have to let go of friends on the weekend, but that's type of mentality. Okay, you got to give up some stuff to succeed and win temporarily. But hey, that's what we do here at Burn Up Coaching. So if that's you, ready to kick it into overdrive, send me a message. Now, for the iTunes review of the week, that is brought to you by Miss or Mr., I don't know, Luna Goon. Luna Goon sounds like a miss. She says, he says, whatever it says, Luna Goon from the Blue Lagoon. Value packed, taking you to new heights. Chris is an incredible interviewer. He is super smart, silly, and has a gigantic heart of gold. He genuinely cares for his fans and bends over backwards to deliver high-end value for everyone he meets. This is a must listen. I recommend making time for it every week. Thanks, Chris, for your continued contributions. Lunagoon, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And if you want to give us a review, go to beyourgps.com/iTunes or search Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self in the iTunes store. And we appreciate you doing that, letting us know what you love, what you don't, and how you think the show could be better. Just give us your feedback. We appreciate hearing from you, and I read all the reviews. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. Or you could also leave us one on Facebook. That's cool. That's cool too. For the man of the hour, Mr. Andrew Hall. Andrew Hall is the founder of Hall of Diamonds, a coaching company designed to help you shine online. He is a serial entrepreneur and has founded an app, company-Nett, a personalized lifestyle relationship assistant, LRA. I've never heard of that term. That's cool. Lifestyle relationship assistant, and he has done sales. He has a badass Christian philosophy and worldview out of which flows tremendous love for his fellow human beings. Andrew's ultimate desire is to give more in value than he takes in payment. It's the first law of being a go-giver, his favorite book. And by the way, Andrew Hall is an amazing human being. I met him, I think we connected online. I got to meet him officially again. I don't know if you were at the last $1 Billion Body Live. I'll ask you when you come on. But anyways, he was at this year's $1 Billion Body Live put on by Nicholas and Amanda Bailey. And the amazing community that brings together is mind-blowing. So if you can get there in San Diego, it'll be next year, summer-ish. But this guy, every time I talk to him, I think about him, I just hear the sincerity. I feel the sincerity. I just know he cares so much about people and connecting people and empowering people and making the world a better place. And it is honestly my honor to have him on the show and to really be making a difference with him. So, Andrew, are you ready to rock this, brother?
I am ready, Chris.
Boom! We are now live on Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self, brother. Let's do this.
Let's do it. I'm excited. I'm clay in your hands, man. What are we going to talk about?
We're going to dive right into the theme of the day, man, and that is calling in your creations. By the way, we're going to have a bonus question for Andrew because we were going to do laughter as medicine. Laughter is the best medicine. But then I was like, is Andrew coming on the show? Is he coming on the show? I don't know. Then last minute's like, swoop, I'm gonna get that 7 p.m. slot. Let's go. So first we're going to start with calling in your creations, man. So how do you relate to this concept of calling in your creations? How has it made a difference for you? Why is it important for you?
Oh, that's fantastic, man. I love that. I love that question. And I love kind of diving into this almost blindsided because I was late and that's all on me. Procrastination is a failure disease. I'm working on a cure. um, in regards to that, like, you know, a calling in my creations, I don't feel like it's outside of me. So I mean, as I put in my bio, I have a Christian philosophy. So the kingdom of God is within man. So for me, I draw it from within. I look internally to solve external problems. I was really big growing up in the business world on learning from mentors and taking on their advice to really shape my philosophies. And I heard a gentleman named Dexter Yeager said, I learned to live from me out. I don't let the outside world affect me. I affect the outside world. And Chris, I can tell you, people have been talking to me about moving locations. I've done a stint here in California, helping build the $1 billion body. And I love this brand. It's phenomenal. Working for Chris Borghese, a friend of mine, but no, not Chris. Working for Nicholas and Amanda Barely has been life-changing. I love what they have going on here. So when people ask me, hey, Andrew, how's California treating you? I respond, I'm treating California very well. And that's just the mindset. Like it's based on, you know, we are creative beings. And so we have the creative energy. I don't call in the creation from my creative energy from outside of me. I'm the one that produces it. And so I give God the glory for that. But I mean, I'm the person that's doing the creativity.
Wow. So beautiful, man. I love that. And I love that the reframe on that, or at least the truth, how the truth resonates with you about that statement. You know, it's like, it's not necessarily calling it in from the outside, but it's calling it forth from within, you know?
Very Shakespeare-esque right there.
Yeah. That's
forth from within. Hit it right. That was
I love it, man. So that's a great response. And next, we're going into laughter is the best medicine, because we wanted to make that the theme. So you get the specialized, personalized VIP question, the last interview, last question of the day.
Yes. I mean, that's a short interview. I'll just cut it off here. No, I'm kidding. So laughter is the best medicine. Is that a question, or is that just a statement I need to run with?
Yeah, what does it mean for you?
Oh man, it means everything. I haven't gotten sick in 5 years. And you know, I had attributed that to taking supplements and exercising, but there were so many stints, Chris, where I didn't exercise or I didn't take my vitamins. But man, I always find something to laugh at. And I really learned that laughing at yourself is the best medicine. Yeah. Because we're all, you know, prone to make mistakes. And so whenever I do something stupid, okay, I did something stupid. Yeah. And whoever you idolize in your mind is this great hero. It's like, oh my gosh, if I could just be like a Nicholas Barely, if I could just be like a Tony Robbins, I could just be like Russell Brunson or Chris Burns, like exactly. They all have made mistakes before, except for you, Chris. You're perfect.
No.
We've all made mistakes, and for me, it's this breath that we have called life, where it's a season, and I hear myself saying this over and over again: to each their own, and seasons of life. Wow. So, like, what can I find to laugh at in this season of my life that is funny? And then I'll bust a gut over some things, and I gave myself the freedom. I guess here's a little secret for all the listeners. If you want to, like, why don't I laugh as much as I used to, or whatever? Like, you know, some people are just serious. It's not necessarily because you're not laughing at yourself. Maybe you do, but giving yourself the freedom to subjectively decide what you think is funny. Comedy is one of the craziest industries to me because it's so subjective. Yeah. Like, I find things funny that you might not find funny at all. Right. And vice versa. Right. So when I think something's funny, I laugh my face off. And I don't care what other people feel in the room. Like, you know, if you go to like the bourgeois type parties where everybody's like, oh, nice. Ha, 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 ha.
Hoity toity.
Yeah, exactly. But like, if I hear something that I just think is the funniest thing, and I don't even know why I think it's funny, I just think it's funny. And I don't have to explain myself to other people. I think it's funny, and that's the end of the story. So then I laugh, and then when I'm done laughing, and I think that gives people freedom to do the same, where I want them to feel comfortable in their own skin, so therefore they can laugh as much as they want.
Yeah, you know, one of one of the things that I had a challenge with growing up is like a willingness to laugh. When I was younger, I would laugh so hard that I would pee myself, right? So I was afraid of laughing. I was afraid of it. I was afraid of being self-expressed. I was afraid of embarrassing myself, doing something stupid, whatever. And so last year on the marathon, one of the sessions that I had was something about laughter. And what I did is I challenged myself to laugh on air, on camera, with like no interview, just laugh for no reason for like 10 minutes straight. It was the most uncomfortable thing ever at first, but then after I started, I was like, oh my God, this is the best. I love laughing. It's just amazing. But it's cool how you can see, you don't need a reason to laugh, but so many people think that they need one. And it's so healthy, it's so healing, it's so invigorating. It's like good for your organs and good for your whole body, good for your brain and your chemistry and stuff. Like, it's incredible, man.
Yeah, I think some of the best medicines are free, right? So breathing, sleep, and laughter are three of the things that I think people just don't take time to appreciate. I've learned to value my sleep tremendously. That wasn't a thing. I used to always fight sleep, but sleep is a benefit. I mean, you can be productive while you sleep. You can be listening to audiobooks or meditation music or something like that while you're sleeping.
What's the level? I've always been curious about that. I listen to affirmations while I sleep. Have you heard of any kind of level of receptivity of how that impacts the subconscious mind? Like what percentage of it would actually stick from like an audiobook or, I'm curious on that. Do you know anything about that?
I do know a little bit about it. Not the depth of what you're asking, because there's the alpha, beta, delta, theta waves, right? And so like, depends on which level of sleep you're in, depends on maybe how receptive you are.
Totally.
But it also depends on your suggestibility. So hypnotists know this, that some people are more susceptible to suggestions than others. And so some people that are just very stubborn in their mindset, that can't take opinions or hear other suggestions from other people, like a closed-minded person versus an open-minded person. Quite simply, if you're open-minded, you'll probably be able to take in a lot more while you're sleeping than somebody who's closed-minded, because they don't even take in stuff when they're awake.
Right. That's awesome. I love that, and I'm excited to get the technology that we can actually see what's happening. I think as we get more advanced technology, becomes more affordable, there's stuff that you can like wear, like light devices that you wear over your eyes that can like reprogram you and have sensory stuff. We can wear headphones and listen to hypnosis. Some guy I know is combining those two things with massage, right? Hypnosis and light therapy with massage, so that it gets it into the tissues and cells of your body at the deepest level, combining as many modalities as possible. And I said, well, can't we add essential oils too, so that you get a smell and aroma? It's just fascinating. The level of depth that we can like really transform ourselves and change ourselves is beautiful, man.
Yeah, and I would have to agree with that even to a more extent when you're talking about like the depth of something or really doing a transformation. Like here at the $1 Billion Body, I do breakthrough calls and help guys overcome issues over the phone. Or in the course of an hour, I have their whole mindset reframed, where they're able to look at their whole business. I had a guy who wasn't making ends meet learn how to double his business just from a phone call. And we had tremendous value in one thing, and it's the difference between sprinkling water on a towel, like through a spray bottle, or taking the towel and dunking it in the water.
Dang.
Like that really is, humans are the same way. So whenever you go to like a conference or something, that's why I love investing in conferences. I'm going to be at Jim Rohn's founders mastermind here in a couple of weeks. I went to the $1 Billion Body in June in San Diego. And so like that right there is an immersion where you're like, just all you can think about. You're in the hotel, you go downstairs to the ballroom. Everyone that you meet is like, oh, hey, I'm a business owner, oh, hey, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh, hey, I'm creative and I actually understand energy and whatnot. Like that's just an immersion into something that's completely different than just sprinkling water on you, like even listening to a podcast every day, which I love that. And I think you should, but also getting that immersion for the live events is really where we as humans change our mindset.
Yeah, it's like we need both the spaced repetition and immersion, and total immersion in a context, in a container for days at a time to like really dive deep. It's that deep dive. I love the analogy of putting the towel in, or just like the sprays with enough time will make a difference, but it's like what do we want to do? We want to go deep and then continue to maintain, continue to deepen and integrate and make sure that we retain that information through daily practice or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome, man. So we are having a blast. I love this conversation. Let's catch everyone up on those who don't know what you are, a human being, I think. Who you are and what you do. Just catch anyone up who doesn't yet know you.
Yeah, absolutely. So as the founder of Hall of Diamonds, I help coach people on their social media. In which case, I mean, you can do ads, and that's great. But sometimes as a solopreneur, as a realtor, as an insurance salesperson, as a health advisor, as a network marketer, someone that's kind of on their own as a solopreneur, really kind of making things happen. And you don't really want to invest into ads because you don't need ads.
Right.
You really just need a presence online. And that's what I coach people on how to do. It's how I went from 2,000 to 5,000 friends, of which I know personally, like I've had a conversation with. The majority of them, I would say 2,500 to 3,000 of them are actually personal connections of mine. Wow. Because I've learned to leverage social media and actually build a presence where some people, send me messages saying, hey, I really like your profile. Just wanted to connect more. And it is some basic things, but it's some little tweaking of mindset. And people really need a coach in order to have that breakthrough for them, so therefore they can look at their social media different.
Yeah.
And I love helping people directly in regards to somebody asked me a question and I have the answer, so I feel valuable, but then I also get paid for the answer. So then my wallet feels valuable too. Yes. It's not just, lonely by itself. Okay. But I mean, that's the commerce that we live in, right? Give more value than you take in payment. But in regards to living in America, even though it's fiat money, it still is money that we use as commerce, as currency. Mm-hmm. So all that to say, I help people with their social media develop a presence online from a coaching standpoint. I'm not going to do the work for you, although I do have some packages where I offer that because some people are just unwilling to do that. But really, it's to coach you, so therefore you can become independent and learn how to run social media accounts on your own and build a presence online, attract more followers, and then build better relationships so you can turn those leads into prospects into customers.
That's right, man. And if there's anyone who knows about this, it's networking expert Andrew Hall, who built the app Nett. And I want to dive back into your journey about how that got created, why it got created. And I said networking. That may not be accurate. I think there's an acronym that I read in your intro that I'm like, that's interesting.
Okay, I'll dive in that story. I love telling it. Okay. And you caught me at a unique place because the story of a startup entrepreneur, man, I love listening to those because, man, is it a roller coaster. You think, being a freelancer, try being a complete startup founder with an idea that you have and then trying to make that into a business that nobody's ever done before.
Man.
That's super fun. I'm like totally addictive. That's why I'm really glad that I was actually a client of the $1 Billion Brotherhood before I came on to work and help with them here because I needed community. The community is so valuable and vital as far as, women normally have no problem with it because based on the book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, when there's a problem, when women get together and talk about it. When men have a problem, they go to their cave and they just think about it themselves and try to fix the problem on their own. They don't discuss, they don't mastermind.
No.
So they have to get out of their comfort zone to actually believe another man can help them because that's just the way we're wired, at least according to the book, which I don't know. It's been a bestseller for like 35 years, so I think it strikes a chord with somebody.
Yeah, has a couple of true facts.
I'm on what's called Chronos time right now, where I have no clock aware right now. I turned my phone off to be completely focused. So if I need to speed anything up or cut anything short, you let me know, Chris. Okay.
Cool. We'll do.
The story was I was struggling as a person selling cell phones because there wasn't enough foot traffic in the doors in Dallas, and there was a hailstorm in Texas, which is where I'm at. And I went down to San Antonio. It's the biggest hailstorm in Texas history, and I started selling roofs, building my network marketing company, and I was heavily involved in a church. And I was meeting all these new people because I had just moved to San Antonio. I didn't know hardly anyone. I did know a lot of people in the Seguin area, but that's different than San Antonio. If you understand the demographics, it's just a little bit outside the city. And essentially, I was meeting all these different people, but I couldn't remember all of them because I was meeting 10, 15 people a day, from knocking on doors to meeting people for my network marketing company. And I was like, I can't remember all these people. I need something that will just automatically sort and file this stuff for me, because I'm not a task-oriented person. I'm not going to do this. And I'm sure I'm not going to put it in an Excel spreadsheet, because then that doesn't work either. So I need a lifestyle relationship assistant. It's not a CRM. These aren't customers that I'm going to have to send email and drip email campaigns to. I'm not negating that. I think that works for a reason, but I'm in the business of relationships. I want to develop the relationships with people. Like with you, Chris, I haven't called you to be like, hey man, I got this product or whatever. I just want to be a presence. It's about presence. You know where I am. You know what I do.
Yep.
And at least now you do.
That's right.
And everybody else that's listening, it's about presence and about being present on social media. Grant Cardone calls it omnipresence. But going back to having a lifestyle relationship assistant, I kept looking for a good mobile Rolodex, something better than my iPhone contact address book, better than Camcard, better than Simple Prospect Manager, just like something that would actually work and work well. And then I just started to go from there. And I was at a conference once. Go to conferences, right?
That's right.
And one of the women on stage said, hey, if you're not happy with where your business at, maybe it's your responsibility to fix it. And I took that personal. I was like, oh my gosh, I need to start this company. And so I struck off to start this app idea that I had, which at the time was simply automatically, because here's the thing, why should I do it? I mean, it should just automatically do it, because it's going to do the same thing every time anyways. It would automatically pinpoint the date, time, and location of where I met somebody. So if right now it's about 7:20, 7:30, I assume. If I added you to my phone, it would say, hey, Temecula, California, 7:20, West Coast time. And then it would have this location of where I'm at. In which case that would just automatically be saved. Why do I need to input that? It should just automatically happen. And then 24 hours from today, it would push notify me and say, hey, did you follow up with Chris?
Dang.
Because where's the fortune? In the follow-up. And that just made so much sense to me. Like, why? Well, every app, you can set a reminder, but why should I have to? I'm going to need to follow up with this person anyways. Right. 9 times out of 10, I need to follow up with someone. So the predetermined set should be to follow up with them, at least get notified. I can ignore it if I want it, if I want to. The passion's starting to get going again. Maybe.
I love it. Fired up, baby.
I was frustrated with that. And so I was like, this is a problem we need to solve. And everybody that I talked to said, oh yeah, that's a great idea. But nobody necessarily had the money. And I didn't understand raising capital. I didn't understand startup entrepreneurship. So I went through a college, so to speak, of the hard knocks, right? Saying, hey, I'm going to make this happen. I got a friend and he and I decided to strike out and do it. We hired the wrong developer. He wasn't pulling his weight, got distracted with other things. So here I am with the idea 8 months later saying, I still am where I was at. I'm at square one again with a lot of experience now. And so then I had run across another developer. I was like, okay, cool. Let's develop some sort of a partnership. I'd gotten better with investor relations, but still hadn't pulled it off. And have been in that vantage point. Recently brought on a new business partner that has experience. And that's the thing, is when you're investing into a startup, if you see through John Brown's eyes, you'll sell what John Brown buys. And so I wanted to look at life through an investor's eyes and say, what would I invest in? Is this big market cap? Is this a trusted jockey that's riding this horse? Or is it just a great horse and the jockey can't even ride it, can't even steer it in the right way? So looking for people with experience on my advisory board. Now I have the founder of the first CRM, the guy who literally created the industry, on my on my advisory board. His name's Mike Muni. And I'd love to put you in contact with him so you can get on the show. He's really the relationship expert, okay, the connection expert. So shout out Mike Muni. And it's Muhney. Like, why would it be spelled that way? I have no idea. But if it was my last name, I'd pronounce it money. So, because it's pretty darn close. But anyways, that's really been the pain point. And right now, my business partner and I are striking out to develop the rest of the product. It is on the App Store right now. If you search Nett Contacts on the App Store, or if you're in the Google Play Store, it's KNILA, Nila IT Solutions is the best way to find it. And that's where we're at right now. But I'm excited about really scaling that up, finding the right people to come on board. in order to make this reality. Because there's so many people that, just like you, I saw your eyes get big. Oh my gosh, an automatic follow-up. Yeah. That'd be amazing. And everybody seems to want it, but I'm looking for an investor that really wants it as bad as the customer does, and really make this thing reality. So I do have a meeting next week with an investor. I've got to update some slide decks and things. And anybody who has a startup, give me a call. Like, I'd love to reach out to you and connect and help you avoid the same stupid things that I did, and and see if your idea isn't already taken. Because people have told me multiple times, oh, isn't there an app already like that? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, anything can do what my app does. Your smartphone can do it without an app, but it can't automatically do it for you. That's the difference. It's automation. And that's really what you were talking about with AI and VR and all these different things. And if you think about it, today, there's almost nothing that we can't do. Right. It's just we still have to do it. So technology is faster. It just takes longer. And that's why some people still stick to their old ways, is because CRMs actually take more work than just sending out mailing cards. You know, it's like, why does this take so long? Well, okay, well, I'll have a VA do it. And that's great that there's a marketplace for them to have business. But really, technology should do it for me. I shouldn't have to do it. Right. That's really where the next wave of technologies are coming from, in my opinion. Not that I'm an expert on the industry. You know, I'm not over here waving my Fortune 100 award or anything. I don't have that yet, but that's my prediction, because people are frustrated and they need solutions.
Well, even like stuff where you can capture certain data from people, and you could even put like information in about a new contact, like they love dogs, they have a dog named Jerry, they, you know, whatever, like, and then you can integrate that automatically into sending emails that say, hey, whatever, you know, blank, insert name here, I remember us talking about you loving dogs, your dog named Jerry, or blah, blah, blah. And then it can create an email based on, you know, populated fields. But that stuff is like automatic. It can be automatic. It should be automatic to be able to create that personalization, to create a more intimate relationship and have someone go from just a prospect or just a contact to a raving fan, or to someone who's ready to buy or recommend or refer. And it's all about getting the systems and training ourselves to depend on those systems in a good way, to depend on that, rather than going this like long way that takes an incredible amount of time and isn't effective or efficient, you know?
Exactly. 100%. And time is our greatest commodity. And our generation is really clicking onto that, I think. We're like, no. You're going to pay me that much? No. I don't want that much. I want my time.
Right.
Like
Work 8 to 5 till I'm 45, 65, 85? No. No, thank you.
Not going to happen.
So I want to start diving into the social media stuff, because I know that's your big focus right now. Tell us more about what it takes to build a presence online, to be effective with social media without necessarily, you know, putting our house putting our house up for a second mortgage or whatever it might be, you know?
Yeah. Good news is it doesn't require that. But I will say that it comes from the mindset of first having your end objective. And so many people are like, they listen to the outside voices. They're very susceptible to suggestions, in which case they'll say, oh, I need to be on, insert the blank, Snapchat, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, etc. And so they get on it, and then they're like, okay, now what? And then they just don't know where to go. And that's why I'm taking the approach of specific counsel, like coaching somebody directly on what their needs are, because everybody has their own problems. People come up with problems I didn't even know could be a problem on Facebook. I'm like, that's crazy. How messed up is your Facebook? So how many pages can one person have, right? So there's so many little things like that, but really it's what's your end objective? Are you a speaker trying to get speaking gigs? Okay, then you need to be putting out content every day on Instagram and on your stories, and then forwarding that over to your Facebook, where you can have 80, 100 people scrolling through their stories. You need to be going live every day for at least 20 minutes to talk about something that's valuable to you. At least 10 minutes. I mean, it depends on your skill set and how bullet point, or if you're like a talker, you know, some people can talk for an hour every day, right? But, you know, putting yourself out there in the right place for a speaker or a speaking agent to be like, oh, I really like this person's content. They said something that was really good. And as a speaker, you also need to be on YouTube. YouTube, oh my gosh, VidCon? Okay, so Patrick Bet-David, I'd love to say he's a buddy of mine. He does respond to some of my messages, so I'm on his radar. if there's a video, if you go to Hall of Diamonds on YouTube and you search vlog number 3, where I actually had a meeting with him for a little bit to talk about Nett, and I gave him a gift, which was pretty cool. Check out the video, or go to my Facebook page, Andrew Hall's page, and you can watch that video. It's pinned to the top. But essentially, one of the things that I asked him a question on Instagram live that he was doing right after he got back from VidCon 2017. I guess it was November-ish last year, where he said, YouTube hasn't even lost its virginity yet. Like, it is such a young platform. Nobody understands what big plans YouTube has to take over the world in social media. And I was stunned by that.
Right.
It's not mine. And so I was like, that's crazy. I did ask the question, though, you know. Always ask good questions. He really... He didn't break it down. He didn't go over why. He just said it is. And so for me, that piques my radar. Okay, so here's what you need to do. Either have the software that automatically streams live to Facebook and YouTube, which I forget the name of the software off the top of my head, but there's software you can do that. Or, you know, download all your Facebook videos as soon as you're done doing live and upload the lives, and then have a live section on your YouTube page. Simple as that. These are the little things that people just don't think about because they're so narrow-minded, or they just don't have a coach to just look outside. And even I need a coach. I have mentors in my life that I ask a specific question to about a specific field. Hey, I'm doing X, Y, Z this way. What do you think about it? And then they say, Andrew, that's really stupid. Why are you doing that? And I take my ego off. I leave it at the door because it's not needed. In which case I can be humble and say, hey, okay, what should I do instead? And why do you say that it's dumb? Here's why I did it. Correct my thought process. Don't correct the action. And they never do, because I pick wise counselors. But correct my thought process so I don't duplicate the same problem again. And
then a lot of people criticize the person rather than the idea. You know, it's like, oh my God, you're an idiot. It's like, well, don't like say that about me. Like, hey, I just have this thought process. This is how I came upon this. This is why I decided it. This is my why. This is how I got here. Let's figure out the process, the thought process, the root cause, so we can shift that and actually make some progress.
100%, man. 100%. And that goes, and to me, everything is 100% my fault and responsibility, which gives two things. It means if something goes bad, I have the pity, but also if something goes great, I have the joy. So in regards to like a mentor telling me that I'm stupid, that's not going to happen, because I'm not going to pick that mentor. Or at that moment, they're no longer my mentor, because I deserve better and have the self-worth, which is something that you preach, and I love that about your show here, teaching people to have that self-confidence, self-esteem, to where they know what's deserved and what's not deserved. But once again, I've left my ego at the door, so I make sure that it's a clear, objective decision in that. I'm not being emotional to be like, oh my gosh, you hurt my feelings. It's not about feelings. It's about the right thing and the wrong thing. Since we're on this topic, I'll go over my little philosophy here that's not fully developed yet, but I really like it, is that there's 4 categories that every action falls into. There's good, like righteous. Then there's right. Then there's wrong. And then there's evil. And everything falls into those 4 categories. So you can do something good, like walk an old lady across the street, right? That's the right thing to do. And once again, the verbiage, like I haven't ironed all of it out yet, but you can do something that's righteous or moral based on your personal code. I'm not going to inflict mine on others, but my 10 commandments are like, don't commit adultery. Cool. So like that right there is doing a good thing by not doing that. It's righteous. But then there's also something evil. That would be doing the opposite. And then there's the wrong thing, where you make a mistake. And this is where entrepreneurs get things messed up that are highly religious. They think that making mistakes is evil. And it's not. No. Making mistakes is human. So you need to live in being moral and making mistakes. And if you can get comfortable with those 2 areas, you'll do things right occasionally, and that'll be great. But it's making more mistakes that'll actually give you more fruit in the future that you can actually produce. And the field that has the most crap on it normally has the greenest grass.
Gotta love that manure. I love it. And it's true, because we're conditioned to so avoid failure, so avoid being wrong, because so many people's self-worth and self-image is so delicate and fragile, because that's how people are raised. And they're like, the kids these days are raised to get everything that they want, and as soon as they throw a temper tantrum or whatever it might be, like, they get what they want, and it's like an instant gratification. If something goes wrong, they get butthurt and shut down and whatever else goes on with them. So I love the distinction of, master morality, master making those mistakes in a positive, empowering way, so that you learn, so that you grow from it, so that you reflect. And I love how much you think, because a lot of people don't think these days. A lot of people are not using their brain. Even I take full responsibility. Sometimes I'm just on freaking autopilot, and it doesn't work. It does not work. It just totally gets me into situations where I'm just in a conversation, and then the next thing I know, my business partner's like, "Why'd you say that?" I was like, damn it. I just wasn't present.
Well, you got me on a good day, man. I had some great coffee this morning that my friend sent to me. Daniel Leakey, who's also part of the $1 Billion Brotherhood, he sent me some coffee a long time ago, and I finally drank it. And oh my gosh, mental clarity, wake up. Wow. I feel great today. I just want to go run laps,
Amazing.
So shout out Daniel Leakey.
Let's go, coffee. Daniel. Hey, Daniel, you want to hit me up? I'll put your coffee up. put a plug in.
Watch out, Chris. You just might have something in the mail next week.
I love it, man. So you told us a little bit about social media. You told us, what's the strategy? What's the end goal? That will determine really how we show up. I was talking to another guy earlier today about SEO and search engine optimization. It all depends on where your ideal client or avatar or whoever is hanging out. That's where we're going to be marketing to them. I think a lot of people jump on social media and just spray and pray, right? And just hope for the best.
Machine gun marketing.
Yeah. So in terms of being able to be more effective with social media, what else can you recommend, brother?
Education. I mean, investing in your education is so key, and it just depends on how you learn, right? So some people do well in a school system. Some people do well homeschooled. Some people need hands-on and tasks, actually doing it themselves. Some people do good asking questions. And so it just depends on what type of learner you are. Maybe it's video content, audio content, reading books, it doesn't matter. Find your content and then read, get that intake, whatever it is for you. And so educational sources, typically I go to Gary Vee. He's kind of the main thought leader on that. But I watch Nicholas Barely very closely because he's one of the younger ones that's doing really well in his sphere and is getting around people like Russell Brunson or Chris Record or Billie Jean. These are people that he's influencing at 26 years old and developing his whole lifestyle and brand around those different connections and relationships. And so really it's paying attention to the key people. It's knowing when to do what and why to do it. And that's where, my services come in as a coach to help guide you through that process. But I guess tactically, I would say in today, as we day trade attention, right? Today, Instagram is, and I'm more of a predictor, so I'm very hard to be just on one thing. Instagram is really, really big today, and it's going to be really big for a long time, in my opinion. I can't predict the future exactly, but I got a good gut instinct. I already told you about YouTube. YouTube's also good today. It was also good 15 years ago in 2005 when it first started. Wow. So it's really all about timing, and it's where your audience is. LinkedIn is up and coming. Yeah. And Microsoft's great at duplicating other great businesses. So they've done that plenty of times. In which case, LinkedIn, now owned by Microsoft, I predict will overtake all the business avenues of Facebook. I think LinkedIn is Facebook's biggest challenger that hasn't truly been identified yet. Only some of the thought leaders and starting to trickle down have really noticed. You can send a voice audio message over LinkedIn.
What?
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, I know, right? I wonder where you could have gotten that idea from. WhatsApp, or owned by Facebook, which now Messenger does that. Yeah. It's copy and paste. And that's the thing, is people just become a feature. But once again, it's all an equal playing ground. So what's the benefit to LinkedIn over Facebook? Well, it's about presence. So are you on every social media platform? And I said this the other day, is if you're not on all of the platforms, why are you on any? And that was really just to get people to think about why they're on specific platforms. It's really not for them to be on everything. Because if I'm not marketing to 13 to 17-year-olds, if I'm marketing to 45-year-olds, why the hell would I be on Snapchat?
Mm-hmm.
Who's on Snapchat? You know, old people don't even know how to use it, right? For the most part, very few.
Yeah.
And if they do, it's to look at their baby pictures, you know?
Right.
But once again, they have a different life. They have a different time. So if you understand that demographic, they're not into stories every 24 hours. They don't like to be tied down because they may go on a vacation, leave their phone, and not have it for the next week, you know?
That's right. That's
Facebook allows timeline. Instagram allows timeline. So that gives them an edge and an advantage that Snapchat currently doesn't have. Patrick Bet-David also put out recently saying, hey, if Snapchat doesn't change something soon, it's going to be out of business soon. And I'm like, I don't know if it's that drastic because they're still kind of the underdog.
Yep.
You know, I'm on Snapchat simply as kind of like a, you know, fist to Facebook.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
why I like Snapchat.
the thing is, like, their target audience will continue to like self-generate and kind of self-select that app of instant gratification of, you know, like younger people have so much time and so much like freedom, and you know, they're in between classes and they're bored and blah 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 blah, so they're using this app where it's there's just so much content. People can put up like so much content. Not saying that there isn't a ton of content on other platforms, but I would say like the younger generation will keep, you know, they'll keep getting older and saying, ooh, you know, I know this person's on Snapchat and I have lots of time, so let's go mess around with it. And, you know, oh, this generation, we're not using Facebook. Why would I sign up for Facebook? That's not cool.
Yeah, and I had a 13-year-old, Charles Peter Hughes, who's actually an influencer on Instagram, friends with Cardone and Patrick Bet-David and David Meltzer and some other people. He's doing some really good things. He was like, Andrew, I don't have a Facebook. And or I have it, but I don't log on. Like I don't use it. I was like, dude, why aren't you using it? And I told him, who's your target client? Right. Your target client is old people. You need to be on Facebook.
Yep.
Not because you're 13 and you're not on it. That doesn't matter. It's not about you. And that's a principle that a lot of people pass over, is it's not about you. It's really about who's your client. Where are your clients? Just like the SEO guy was saying, he's spot on. And it's finding them, but it's also attracting them.
Yeah.
Those are two things, right? You can go to the club or the movie theater or the church or wherever it is and find the perfect mate for you. But if you're not attractive, they're not going to want to do business with you. So it's a two-way street. You have to find them, but then you also have to be attractive to whatever their interests are.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of people lose is they're like, oh my gosh, I'm in front of my audience. Yeah, but you're annoying. So like nobody likes you. Especially with like older network marketers that are just spam bots practically. And it's like, what's going on, man? Like, would you respond to this message? Like, why are you sending it then?
Yeah.
You know, just a little basic logical thing. But that's why even I need a coach. Like when I was playing basketball, I'd be like, Andrew, why are you trying to take it to the hole? You're 5'6". It's like, oh yeah, why don't you stay outside of the perimeter and pass it to your 6'6" guy down beneath, who then can score? And then you get an assist and we make points as a team. Like, oh, that's a great idea, coach.
Use your strengths.
Yeah, and I knew that, but I needed to be told that. So that's what I needed to coach, somebody to see from the sidelines what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong. And it's good to praise. That's good too. I feel like I've deterred from your original question about what to be on right now. It's just per individual. Is that a word?
Individual?
Individual. Individual.
The Native American individual.
One nation individual. That's what happens whenever I say too many words in one hour. I've reached my word limit for the day.
Your WPH, word per hour.
Words per hour. Yep, exactly. No, so it's really specific. I would say generically though, Facebook's a big place. Instagram's a huge place. LinkedIn is the up-and-coming star, in my opinion, if I'm predicting the future. And you need to learn how to use it. And I'm still learning how to use it. I mean, nobody's evolved like the god of social media, but it's just, you know, sophomores can teach freshmen, right? So in the same way as a coach, I feel qualified enough to help coach other people on what it is that they're doing. And then iron sharpens iron.
Yep. Yeah, and there's always a couple people a couple steps behind you. You know, there's people who've never even touched social media who probably are not your ideal client necessarily, because they have their learning curve is they don't even know what it is. They don't even know, like, you know, how to use it. But there's people who are like on it but are struggling, and those people who are like, you know, I'm trying this thing, I'm making effort, putting in time and energy, but just not seeing to get the results. Those are the people, I think, you know, like when someone's taking action, but the action isn't producing results, I think that's the best place to coach from, because they've already tried. They've already said, hey, I'm willing to throw my hat in the ring. And I went in, I got beat up, I came back out, and I said, I need Andrew, damn it.
Exactly. Not my last name, but I'll take it. 100%, man.
I love it, man. So, you know, this philosophy of social media, why do you feel it's important for making social change and influencing at a bigger scale? Because I know you, Andrew, you don't do things just because it's like, you know, a way to make money. You do it because it's meaningful, it's impactful, it's important. And I'm curious what you see as your role in social media, as your role in making a larger impact in the world through this phase of your life.
Well, that's a philosophical question, and I love it. Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.
So for me, it doesn't take me long to figure out somebody. It takes me about 6-12 seconds, sometimes up to a minute, to really look at somebody, understand their body language, what they're saying, what they're not saying, where their eyes are, etc. Even by a profile picture. And I know it's like, well, don't judge at first sight, but man, I've met so many thousands and thousands of people that I feel like I can size people up pretty well within the first couple seconds or minutes. And so for me, it's about now, how can I expand that? How many more people can I add to my net, which is going to take over the Rolodex in the next 20 years, all right? So how many people can I add to my net? Essentially, because I really understand the value of networking. And let me give you an example. Somebody shot me a text message today and say, hey, Andrew, I'm doing a business deal where I'm looking to, I need an investor for $200,000, and it should be 100% return, a 2x return in 6 months, paid back in full. Like, oh, okay, cool. He was like, who do you know? And I was like, I know dozens of people, but it depends on the industry and, you know, the slide deck and all those other things, because a real estate investor might not invest into a Taiwan tech startup, you know? So there's, you know, staying in your lane is important as an investor.
Totally.
So he was like, concerts. I was like, sweet, boom. I know exactly who it is, and I had already sent him an email. So that's what I love to do. And I'm looking actually for an idea, and I know it's going to come to me, because it's not even going to come to me because I draw it from within. That's right. But I have an idea.
Flow out of you. One day it's just like, bleh.
Can you do that again for the camera? That's great.
One day.
Perfect. 100%. So, yeah, what were we talking about? Bleh.
Bleh.
Oh, man. So
the idea.
The idea, yeah. So becoming a relationship broker. Where I literally, you can ask me a question and be like, okay, XYZ. And I'm like, cool, man. I know 6 people that you need to talk to. I had a phone call this morning, and before I was off the phone with them, I had sent 2 connection Facebook messages with other people. I also got him hooked up on 2 different podcasts already before noon. Wow. That's really good. I'm really good at that. And if you're good at something, never do it for free. But I don't know how to monetize it yet. So
it's coming.
I'm going to figure that one out. Maybe just get like 1% of all the deals that I put together. So
just sign this commission agreement, 1%. Just get it done. I know we just met, but trust me.
Exactly. But then it goes to that. Oh, this is a big one. Trust. I was gonna post this actually in the Brotherhood Facebook group to get the feedback from the guys on this. Trust. How do you decide and analyze trusting a person? That's such a big question in business, because trust is really the currency that we deal with in today's society. That's why people aren't buying your product and I'm not saying you, Chris, I'm saying whoever's listening to this, the reason customers aren't buying your product is they don't trust you, they don't know you, or they don't like you. Like, it's one of those three things, and it's probably based on the assumption of trust. They have to know you first to determine anything about you. So if they don't know you, that's just good SEO, right? You need to get a marketer. But then they have to like you, right? And that starts actually with you liking yourself, and that's a whole other talk in itself. But you need to like yourself. And then the third thing would be trusting you. Like, are they going to trust that they're getting more in value than they're giving you in payment? And so that's really the basis. And I really want to know the philosophy. Maybe you have an answer for this, Chris, because you gave me a great answer to the last question that I asked you when we were on the pre-evaluation call about your audience and us as where we're at in life. And so I'm curious, like, how does one determine trust in another person? It's normally kind of that feeling, right?
Right.
Like, I don't know. Like, I still haven't had a metrics here of like a trust metrics that I need to put together to really understand that. So do you have any thoughts on that, Chris?
Yeah, I think everyone's feelings are subjective, right? Like, feelings are subjective, but if we can give people an objective way to measure their feelings, that's number one. Is first off, how do you feel about it on a scale of 0 to 10? How much do you trust this person? That could be off of initial meeting with someone. Right after that, they put it into their net score. Like this person has a 3 trust. Stay away.
People would pay. I would pay so much money for that, because think about how much money can be lost in a bad deal. Zig Ziglar used to say you can't do a good deal with a bad guy. And, that's just his Zig Ziglarian way of saying that, watch out, really be mindful of other people, because everybody's in the people business. Everybody. So when I learned that everybody's in the people business, I read How to Win Friends and Influence People because I wanted to know about people. Right. And I read it 8 times because I want to know about people. Because what is commerce but people? When you're making a sale, you're not selling to a computer. You're selling to a person. Right. So how does that person interact with you? How do you interact with that person in a way that favors you? Like, all the science of that is what I love and what I plan on exploring for myself. So when you ask the philosophical question, what do I like? I love studying people and answering these philosophical questions that I come up with in my own head of like, I wonder about this. Why do people do X? If I can predict this, how many people can I get to do the same thing until I have an outlier, and then what is that outlier different, and how many outliers are there? And what's the numerical value of all of this, and how it all comes together? Now, I don't actually have the time yet in my own life to actually philosophize over all of that. But I love to spend my Sabbaths and whatnot, spending that time thinking, okay, because you said I think a lot and you're accurate. I think way too much, and I have more of a problem taking action than I do thinking. So I've learned to be around action takers, so I continue.
That's right. You're inspired and just like you feel the juice, the energy rubbing off. Speaking of action takers, Nicholas Barely is in the audience.
All right.
He says, tell him Nicholas says hello. He said, he can't do a good deal with a bad guy. Ziggy, he said, got to get that mic plugged in correctly.
Apparently I do. Is it that bad? Do I need to unplug it or something?
It sounds great. No, it sounds great.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about, but it works on our end.
Okay, good. Because I had a problem with it when I was recording something earlier here, and I don't know if it's my laptop or what it is. But
nah, it's great. It's great. I did want to say one thing though about like you like the purpose of Nett. What I see is, and this is just my perspective, and you might have a completely different outcome and vision for it, but like it's to be connected with people and to remember those connections and to be able to maximize those connections to be able to grow our businesses, make an impact, live a fulfilling life, etc., etc. One of the key components of that, I believe, is like trust and reputation, but like there's not any, I feel like there, Yelp has a reputation, kind of, stars, Facebook has ratings, Google has ratings. So all these different things have ratings and reputation kind of built in, but I don't think there's really that much for people in general. Some celebrity and public figure pages and stuff like that have ratings that you can give them a rating and stuff, but that would be something I think so many people would find valuable, to create a worldwide, world-known service that says this person is either quality or not quality. And I don't know if anyone can create something like that, a monopoly or whatever, but I would think that would be valuable if there was a standard, currency of reputation, of trust that everyone goes to find out if it is a good business deal or not.
That I like that. I haven't thought about it in that exact terms yet. I know China right now actually has their currency tied to good deeds. So they have cameras set up everywhere, right? Their big brother, if you will, is watching them. It's more like an evil step uncle, but with their communistic society. But not the Chinese people, but the government.
Right.
I'm not a fan of. Right. So with them, they're actually rewarding people for their good deeds, but having more of a privatized version of that. I do like that. I feel like currently LinkedIn is that place where, like, if I want to go to you and endorse you for something or say XYZ, the problem is people still BSing. People aren't honest with themselves, and so they'll lie to other people as well. Or they are really honest with themselves, and they're so honest and enlightened that they'll never say anything truthful about anybody else. And like, oh, this person actually was a bad deal. Because then if you actually expose that, then now you're at risk for that person backlashing at you. So there's a whole other social dynamic. But really, I believe selfishness is the most selfless thing you can do. Okay, so let me explain to this. Going back to my religious philosophy, Jesus was not as selfless as most Christians are taught and believe. In his selfishness as God, wanting to redeem man unto himself, had his reputation at stake of saying that I'm going to send the Messiah. So he did in regards to Jesus, and then Jesus making that sacrifice, he didn't actually make a sacrifice. He made an investment that he got a huge profit and ROI on, saving the world. Like, that's a really good investment. So it's the most selfish thing he could have done was to sacrifice his life on earth for the eternal in order to actually gain a bride for all of eternity. So I believe selfishness and profit and compensation is the most godly thing you can do if you're doing it in the right way for the right reasons. And so many people have this philosophy that, oh, selfishness is bad. I need to be give. Jesus is all about give. And I hate it when they use my Savior in the wrong way. It's like, no, he was about creating his ideal lifestyle. But it wasn't about the temporary lifestyle. It was about the eternal lifestyle. Like, he wanted to be with his bride forever. Cool. So if he needs a bride, he needs to save the Gentiles, so therefore anybody can come to know him instead of just the Jews. Right. They're kind of a stubborn-necked people anyways. If you read the scripture, it's pretty funny. Anyway, that's all another topic. So point being is, I think selfishness is really quite a brilliant feat. And my selfish reason for Nett, Chris, is so I can be connected to more people and I don't forget people. Because I've had 5 concussions and I understand the pain of looking at somebody and being like, oh my God, how do we know each other? Where do I know you from? You look so familiar. Oh, I've seen that name before. Where do I know that person from? And it just drives me nuts that I can't remember. And it's out of that love for them that I want to remember them. I want to know their kid's name. I want to know where they live and what they're doing. And so it's very difficult. Man, if I just had an LRA that already took care of that for me, sunk up with their social profile so it could stay updated, so I could access that whenever it is that I'm thinking about them. Like, that's what we need, because I want to outsource that part of my brain to actually enhance it, to make more room for more people. I've heard of this law. I forget the name of it, but it's like you can only have 150 friends. And I forget what that law is called, but it's like some sort of a study where it's kind of where you top out at. Forget that. I want to have 150,000 friends.
That's right.
And be able to be a connector for all of them. That's why I'm kind of starting to be interested in syndication as far as real estate deals goes, because really you're the connector. That is a great way to be a relationship broker. That's really what a syndicator is in real estate. And I don't know if any of the listeners are familiar with real estate, but essentially you put together deals for people. firms. They put together deals for people.
Yeah.
And for me, that's what I know my gifting is. And I learned, walk in your gifting. Don't try to be all things to all people and try to do everything. No, have friends and outsource what you need done from other people, and then lead them in the right way. Simon Sinek talks about manipulation in the positive way for other people's benefit.
Right.
So it's simply where you're going about doing the most selfish thing for the best reason, for the best possible outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Like, think about it this way, Chris. You're trying to become your greatest possible self.
Mm-hmm.
How selfish of you.
The knife.
But it's the best thing you can do for the whole world.
Yep.
So you need to do that. Like, you should do that. Everybody listening should become their greatest possible self. Why don't they? Because they think that, quote unquote, being selfless is going to make them better or more holy and all that other BS. So I don't buy it.
Me neither. That's some BS indeed. So, Andrew, let's wrap it up. What we want people to know about stepping into their greatest possible self from your perspective, and really the importance of being on social platforms, the importance of them owning themselves on social platforms.
You know, it's kind of like having a face. We call it the Facebook for a reason. And so it's really your digital face. If people can't find you or a phone number, right? What if you're not listed in the phone book? How are people going to call you? You know, you don't need to have ads in the yellow pages, but you at least need to be listed in the white pages. And it's not just a name and a phone number. Now it's a picture. Now it's a bio. Now you can express yourself. So the question is, are you expressing yourself genuinely? And that's where I come in to help you understand yourself better and what your message truly is. I almost feel like I'm more of a branding expert than even the social media side. It's just I focus in and I hone in right there on that. What's the message that, you know, a Larry Blackman needs to get across to his people, or a Janet Child, two of my clients that have seen success just from having the confidence of knowing I need to post on Instagram 4 times a day. I need to use 30 hashtags. Like, some of the basic things that we forget, shooting free throws and using your elbow correctly is, as a basketball coach, still reminding you of those basic things. So in order for you to become your greatest possible self, you have to be on a social platform. You have to be able to connect and influence others, especially if you're in business. Businesses sell stuff. And if you're the CEO, you're the chief selling officer. And if you're in network marketing, you're the chief selling officer. If you're a solopreneur, you're the chief selling officer. That's all on you. And you might need to learn some courses and take some courses. I encourage that. But man, don't just go to a camp without having a coach that you can fall back on to say, hey, coach, I got this question about this thing. And nobody can't afford me. I'm very, very reasonable when it comes to prices. Nobody's going to say, oh, I can't afford a coach. No, you can. If you can eat this month, you can afford a coach. Okay? And you can do both, actually. So
I love it.
I haven't gotten so tied up yet on my schedule to where I have to start raising my prices yet. Maybe by the time this is released, that might be different. But
that's right. It's coming.
As of this live, that's not the case. So in order for you to become your greatest possible self, believe that it's possible, then start to take action on it, get a coach to help you in whatever industry that you're in, and be present on social media. And who knows, maybe you'll eventually be omnipresent on social media.
That's right. Let's do this. So, Andrew, how do people who are loving this interview, loving your sense of humor, loving your energy, loving your wisdom, your personality, how do they stay connected with you, man?
Well, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn, everything is /Hall of Diamonds. If you want to get in contact with me, whatever the social platform is, at my Twitter handle, everything, Hall of Diamonds. If you want to send me an email, it's Andrew@Hall of Diamonds. And I think my phone number is on the screen somewhere around here.
Yep.
Cool. So you can also send me a text message right there. But if you're listening on this later, and I don't care, you can put the phone number on the show notes as well. I'm not so popular yet to be like, if that's a word, I'm tongue twisting again, Chris. I'm not so popular as to be like, oh my gosh, my phone number's out there. What's going to happen? Like, it's already out there anyways, dude. I get so pissed off at people when they're like, oh my gosh, I have to worry about my security and all this stuff. And it's like Uber has your phone number and they probably sold it to Taiwan. Okay. Just deal with it. It's just not today. You're just not private. Okay. Anyways, I digress off my Charlie horse, but Andrew@Hall of Diamonds is an email. If you want to send me an email or any of those social platforms available.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Everyone definitely stay connected with this man, this human being, I think. No, seriously, you're awesome, dude. Love you, brother. Thank you so much for the wisdom. Thank you for who you are. And I'm really excited. I can see so much brightness, so much wisdom, so much growth, so much impact ahead of your future and my future together, co-creating, sharing, connecting each other. I love it, man. I love Nett. I love what you're about. It is brilliant, and I love what you're doing. Keep up the amazing work, man.
Thank you, man. And you as well. I love what you're doing here with the greatest possible self. Becoming it. GPS, baby.
That's right. Every day. Andrew, have the best week ever, and we'll see you soon, okay?
You too, Chris.
Awesome.